This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield and his better half, Marney Winfield.
Yo, what you doing? I was just calling to see what was up. See if you want to hang out for a bit. Alright, later.
It is the 6th of May, 2021. My name is Corey Winfield.
Marney Winfield.
And this here is the 217 Recovery Podcast. We talk about recovery. We talk about our days in recovery, things we're doing in recovery, and how we have fun in recovery. So welcome. Sometimes I worry, though.
About what? People
listen to the podcast, and then they have judgments.
Uh-huh.
But then I don't. I don't know. I do it and I don't. We met with, or kind of met with, we Zoomed with a coffee company to not produce coffee for us, but to kind of go into a little coffee action business action.
Mm-hmm.
217 Recovery Coffee. And, you know, we started brainstorming ideas, and I was like, well, why don't we sell, like, coffee? We'll call it crack. And we can sell the liquor coffee, and it's just coffee. And the coffee guy was like, yeah, that idea's probably been done before. But your mom was like, yeah, we can go down the street with a wheelbarrow and start selling. I'm like, yeah, we just stand on the corner and sell crack coffee. Like, I don't know how long it would take the cops to catch on, but it's just little, like, remarks like that. Like, was I serious? Maybe not really, but maybe. But it kind of is like, you know, it's those things that I'm not afraid to throw out on the podcast because it jumps in my brain. And at one point, I thought it was a good idea. And you say it out loud and you start thinking about it, and you're like, yeah, probably not really that good of idea. You know, we're going to get robbed.
Yeah, that idea had to be tweaked a bit.
Someone's going to steal our crack coffee and get home. They're going to be pissed and find out it's coffee. See, stuff like that. Little comments.
At least you're thinking, you know, ahead.
But when we were talking about where the donations and stuff would go, I mentioned, you know, the recovery house that we want to get going and operating and stuff. And your mom was like, well, yeah, but what about, you know, the podcast, and what about the 217 recovery rides? I'm like, yeah, we should probably just leave the podcast out of it, you know. But it does help a lot of people, though, you know, to hear us kind of go through some things and help explain things to other people who maybe aren't in recovery. Maybe they have family members and stuff, and they can listen and go, oh, well, Corey was saying that, and that's kind of how my uncle or cousin or sister, mother, dad, brother, sister, whoever is acting. So that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, yeah, Marney. Yeah, that's the same thing my daughter's going through. But anyway, so that was fun, though, the coffee thing. Stay tuned for details. Our app is on fire. In fuego.
Mm-hmm.
The app is so much better than the old app, the brand new app. If you don't have it yet, you need to get it. I'm not kidding you. The stuff that I can actually add to it is just, it's amazing. And of course, every single podcast is going to be added to it. Which, I mean, you can listen to every podcast now from our website. If you go to 217recovery.com. Some of the apps like iHeartRadio, I think, and Spotify. Amazon might have them all. iTunes, not sure. Pandora, not sure. But you can listen to them like that too. But it's fun just to have your app ready and right there. I'm going to start putting daily reflections on there.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that through AA and NA. And that'll be something else that, you know, just another tool that someone can have right there on their phone. And maybe that someone already has an app, but whatever. It's not ours and it's not as cool. So
right.
But the AA meeting we had on Monday went well. And then the NA meeting we had yesterday was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of people in there too. And the feedback that I got from it and my sense of how it went was it went well. You know, the guys had fun, and it's not a men-only meeting, but it just happened to be all men.
Right.
Which kind of was a little bit, I mean, we could be a little bit more free, more wild ass a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it was a good time for sure. And if you want to join us, it's 7 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern time. But yeah, download the app and just pop on there and we'll have a grand old time. Now, if you're white knuckling it, or you know you're considered a dry drunk, I don't know if the meeting's going to be for you. Like I said, there's a lot of laughing going on, a lot of having fun. If that is your kind of recovery, check us out. And if you don't like it, you know, you can always leave. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. So, join us. There's some events coming up that you can join us for. There's one on, this is a couple weeks, May 19th and 20th. It's the Assist training, which is, hold on, let me pull up the app. These events are on our app too. It's the Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. Now, Marty, you and I both took this a year ago. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-day thing, and you learn so much from Lisa and her crew and her trainers and stuff, that it's one of those things that you don't want to be caught without it. It's like an umbrella. You know, it's like, oh, I don't need that stupid umbrella. And then next thing you know, it's pouring for 25 days straight. And you're like, I wish I would have got that damn umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a great training. And you're right. It's one of those things where you never know when you might run into somebody and in what capacity you might run into them where you recognize that something might be off, and to the point of being fearful that they might harm themselves. And sometimes you won't even get that information until you actually have a conversation. And so the thing that I liked about the training was it helped you, and it's been a minute, but it stuck with me, all this stuff now that you bring it up, is it helps you identify some, red flags, some verbiage that's used that people might say that could indicate that there's something that needs to be looked into a little bit further for their own safety. And it's one of those trainings where it can only help you, and it gives you an opportunity to they do like role play kind of situations and practice having conversations that can be uncomfortable for people because nobody really wants to, talk about that. But how many times where maybe somebody was having a conversation with somebody and they noticed that something was off and there was a concern, but they didn't know how to address it. And then it's too late, and suicide is real, and it is, it's not easily identified, and it's one of those things that people don't really want to talk about. So, down the line, if you could help somebody intervene before any harm is done, it's worth taking this, it's worth taking this training. And, I really enjoyed it. And I'm remembering when we took it, and there were people from all kinds of avenues of life. Mm-hmm. I mean, the majority I would say were people in the helping profession that were kind of taking it to, complement, their knowledge of, whatever job that they had. But anybody can take it. Anybody can take it, and it's really helpful. It was really moving.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, you're going to be happy that you took it. You're going to learn a lot, and a lot of the stuff you're like, oh well, I know if they say this and that. No, I don't think you do. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of opens your eyes. You're like, oh, because I would have just said, oh well, you said that before, man. You're crying wolf, but you got to take it serious. Because mm-hmm. It's that one time that you don't, and something happens, and you be kicking yourself, or you'll notice things later, and you're like, "Oh man!" Like they were screaming out for help, And here I am, just too busy with my day that I couldn't even hear them out. I didn't pick up on those signs that they're pretty obvious sometimes, and only if you're really looking for them. But yeah, I recommend you take it. Increase your skills. 19th and 20th of May. That's in Bel Air, Michigan. So if you're in northern Michigan, you can check it out. Now, if you're somewhere else in the world, go to our app and then events, and you'll see the assist. You can click on that, and it'll take you to a link, and there will be different trainings all over the country that you can sign up for. So.
Are they doing any? Is that in person then in Bel Air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I enjoyed it having it being in person. I thought
donuts.
it was effective. They did have donuts. They had a lot of treats. Yes, they did.
Food.
But yeah, if it's something that you can plan for, just even if you're not available for that particular training, look into it and get yourself signed up for it because it's helpful. It's very helpful.
Kirsten's Rides putting that on, and we've talked to Lisa in the past. If you want to go listen to one of our podcasts, you can listen to it on the app. Mm-hmm. Like I think the first one was on there anyway.
We should put it back on
in 2019. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. May is.
That's right.
And to me, I was thinking about this today on my drive. I had to got a treatment on my way back. Did a lot of thinking, and I was thinking about it. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and man, recovery is. I don't think you can be in recovery without having some kind of mental health issue at one point. Like to me, addiction and mental health, they're right there, man. They're the same almost, like hand in hand. Like some can call it behavioral health problems. Like, someone can be bipolar and not be addicted to cocaine or alcohol, or, someone can just have some kind of problem that, medicine, they've come a long way, in helping people. A lot of people don't want to take the medicine. Nobody wants to be considered crazy or called crazy, and they shouldn't be, and as much as people will like to say, well, you got to work out, you got to be healthy, in our mind is something that over the years, I mean, we're getting better at it now, I think, but like over the years, like in the 50s and 60s and stuff, man, just get over it. I used to be that way. I used to think only women would get depressed. Mm-hmm. And when I got hit with depression, really knocked me off my feet because I had no idea. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I wanted to crawl in a hole and die, and it was horrible. And you could have told me, just get out of bed, shake it off, man. It's not that easy, and I got to the point a few times where I just wish I wouldn't have woken up ever. And that's just not a normal thing. I was driving to work one time and I was doing the morning show in Benton Harbor, and that's when it really hit me, kind of like, okay, this isn't normal. I was driving in, it was like 4 a.m., 4:30, something like that. It was real early, and I thought, man, I could just drive my car right off this bridge because the roads were icy, and they probably just think I lost control and went off, and then I'd be done. I could just end it. And then, like, wait, I was like, that's not normal. I was like, normal people don't think that way. Mm-hmm. Something's going on. That's when I reached out and went to Pine Rest in Grand Rapids for help. Because that's when I realized, okay, there is something. I think I went online and took a depression quiz or test or something, and it was like severely depressed. And that's another thing. A lot of people are afraid what their job's going to do. Well, first of all, your job doesn't have to know. They don't have access to your medical records. You can just say, hey, I'm doing this, and your boss doesn't need to know. Let them know that you're not going to be available for health reasons. They can speculate all they want, but I was open with the company that I worked for in Benton Harbor, Midwest Family Broadcasting. I was open. I said, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. And they were so unprofessional, they didn't know how to handle it. When I worked for iHeartMedia, they are a big company. They go through that all the time. They had it down, man. They handled it perfectly when I went to treatment. But they did not. And I got out, and they told me I was suspended and no pay for 2 weeks, demoted from the morning show, demoted as program director. They didn't know how to handle it, and they didn't want to deal with it. It's like when you're looking for employees, and I don't think you can ask them mental health questions, but if you're like, oh yeah, that person, or if somebody knows something, like Dak Prescott, the quarterback from the Cowboys, he came out and said, yeah, he had some mental health issues and he was depressed, and he thought about some things that probably shouldn't have thought about, but he did. And I say shouldn't thought about, but he did think about it. So who would have thought that, a big superstar quarterback was having issues? And then one of the sports writers came out and kind of chastised him and saying, you're supposed to be a leader, man. You can't have that in your head. And that's the same mentality, like back in the 50s. Like, you can't tell somebody what's in their head and what's not in their head.
Right.
But, yeah, if you have problems or know someone who does, definitely reach out. And Kirsten's Ride, there's a link on our website, 217recovery.com. Go to resources and then help services. And I think they're like the third one down, second or third one down. Or if you want to go scroll through our older podcasts, I know it was like May of 2019 is when I did my first interview with Lisa. And then June or May of 2020, I did another one with her.
We did ours in March.
Our training?
Yeah.
Yeah. The interview I did with her.
Right.
So I told her, I was like, it's that time again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, addiction is, physical. It's physical addiction, substance use disorder. But I mean, when I think about it, it was a mental obsession. There was a lot of, I relied on it, and then I created, routine, and I don't know what you want to call it, how that works in your brain, but like, mapping you get, or kind of like a mapping, or make these neurological connections about, your drug of choice. And then, then you get the physical pieces involved, the serotonin and dopamine and all that crazy stuff. And, it's so intertwined, with mental wellness. And so it's a big piece of it, definitely. And co-occurring disorders are very real. There's so many times where, people are not, if you did a screening, that they very rarely would people be totally hunky-dory in every single other arena, except for the fact that they're, addicted to their drug of choice. So, yeah, it's something to talk about.
And a lot of times people don't, like I said, I didn't realize it, that I even had a mental anything, and I just thought, nope, it's the alcohol thing, and I didn't, nobody wants to have anything wrong with them. But the first time I went to treatment, I went to California, and if the lady would have probably worded it different, it would have made a lot more sense to me. But she told me that I needed to be dual diagnosis so that they could bill the insurance for it. And that's when I was like, wait, what? Like, so you want me to get on some pills because you want to bill the insurance for it? Okay, no. And then when I met with the psychiatrist, it was just like, next, all right, go and you talk to this guy. And it was my goal to tell him that nothing was wrong with me, except I just needed to stop drinking. And how crappy he was, he agreed with me. Yep, just stop drinking, man, you'll be fine. You don't need anything, get out of here. Like, I don't know, and you know what? Maybe that's not a crappy thing. Maybe that is a good thing. Because I had a doctor, I want to say his last name was Green, but he was in Walker, Michigan, which is just outside of Grand Rapids. And he refused to give me any kind of medication for being bipolar. Because I kept reading. I'm like, man, that's me to a T. Like, I'm bipolar. I wanted something to be wrong with me. Something to make sense of why I couldn't stop drinking. Why I would promise everybody that I loved that I would never drink again, and then 2 weeks later I'm drinking again, and it's right back to the shit. I'm bipolar. That makes sense to me. Let's go to the doctor. And I went, and he's like, no. He told me, he's like, any good doctor is not going to prescribe to you anything for being bipolar until you have at least 1-2 years clean. Like, your brain's got to heal before we can even find out if there's anything wrong with you. So I'm really glad that he didn't just start me on a med like I wanted. And then I was going back to college. So I'm like, oh, yeah, and I'm going to need some, what do they give you, Ritalin or something?
Yeah. People.
Yeah, I wanted something to, a little, make me concentrate, man, because sometimes I can't concentrate. And he's like, no, I'm not giving you anything. Here's some Wellbutrin. He's like, but you cannot drink on this. Oh, yeah, I won't. And then I did. And I was drowning myself. Don't even remember. That was crazy. So I guess I did have connections with suicide and, definitely a mental health issue. But, for me, it was putting the alcohol down and having enough clean time to realize now that,
what's really going on.
Yeah. So it definitely, I think addiction is a mental health issue for sure. I know earlier I was like, they go hand in hand, but I was just kind of pussyfooting around it.
Yeah.
But that's my true opinion.
Yeah.
Personally, and I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor either, and that's what I think.
I play one sometimes, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Sexual relations.
Oh,
my
stop
God.
it. You gotta do that. There's another event going on, and I'm gonna say it like to say it down south. July 24th. Paw Paw, Michigan. It's a Recovery Zone rally.
That's right.
Yes. It's supposed to be last year. And I had a problem with it last year. If you were listening to us last year, you might know. But Jewel, who puts it on, she's like the executive director of the Recovery Zone. They're a nonprofit. And she called it the first annual recovery rally.
Oh, right.
I said,
that bothered you.
It always bothers me because you can't have a first annual. You can't.
You gotta let her get over that.
It's impossible. Well, but here's the thing. It's tricky this year because, and she even reached out to me and she said, hey, would this be cool? And I said, yeah, I guess, man. Like, because technically it's not, it's their second go around at the first annual. So does that get a pass?
No, because the event never happened.
But they tried to make it happen.
I guess
so. This is like the first annual. So I think that makes a difference.
I don't think people would be look into it that much.
Well, I told you, I'm like, sure. I think that passes. And then Rob, our friend Rob, who was on 217 Recovery Podcast at the beginning, was like, Corey, I thought we'd been through this because he saw their flyer. And he knows. I started a whole Facebook page called The First Club of Boycotters Who Boycott All First Annual Events or something like that. The first annual, I don't remember what I called it, but it's something like that. And Rob knows, and he knows that was one of my pet peeves. And because I thought you were going to have nothing to do with events that called themselves the first annual. I was like, well, Rob, there's a catch here. So I don't know, but it's going to be a good time though. She's got a bunch of speakers. I know one of the guys, Drew Hicks. He's from, if you're on Facebook and you're in recovery, you've probably seen stuff from him. Clean and Sober is, I think, the name of his page. He likes to do videos and inspiring talks and stuff, but he's going to be there. There's going to be some bands. Of course, we're going to be there. We're doing live podcasts, selling some merch, doing what we do.
And what's the dates again?
That's just the date. Is July.
Oh, date.
24th. Or July 24th if you live up north.
Okay.
Or went to school. Past 5th grade. July 24th.
All right.
In Paw Paw, Michigan. It's going to be at the middle school. But there's links to that and all the other events that are going on there and the people that are going to be speaking. It's on our app. If you have our app, just go right to the recovery events and boom, it's right there.
Awesome.
If you want to go to something and type in 217recovery.com, you can do that too. If you want. But if you have the app, which is free, Google Play Store, your Apple App Store,
it's easy.
Just go right there.
Yeah.
Do it. And if there's ever a feature you're like, man, I wish. And one thing I want is a sober clock.
Right.
So people, what's your sober date? And everybody keeps shooting me the wrong way with it. I know. I'll get it, though. I'll get it. It'll be on there. Don't worry.
Yeah, you'll figure
Not
it
sure
out.
when. But I think it'll be huge to have, like, the daily reflections and stuff. And I'm going to put that stuff on there tomorrow, the 7th of May. So if you're, like, listening to this the 8th, it should be on there unless
It's
something
up
came
there.
up.
Right.
Got my second shot for the COVIDs.
Yes, you did. You were officially immunized. That's good.
Yeah.
You can travel now because we go so many places.
See, this is the thing, though, because I did a podcast with Robert Pardon, and it's going to air tomorrow, Friday the 7th. Look for the Recovery Guy if you're interested in listening to that. And he said that they're traveling, him and his wife, for their anniversary, and he didn't have to get a shot. He didn't have to have no piece of paper. Mm-hmm. So Utah, like, they just, I mean, is it the airline? Is it the airport?
I thought it was airline. I think that to fly you have to. I thought. Maybe not. Maybe just some airlines. Or maybe it depends on where you're going.
He said in Utah, people look at you crazy if you're wearing a mask. He said that people get sort of like, hey, buddy, you don't got to wear that no more, man.
I don't know.
We're good. And he's not vaccinated, and I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. If you want to get vaccinated, go for it. If you don't, all right. Like some of the celebrities, like, gotta get vaccinated. That's how we're going to stop this thing. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I still think that they have no idea how it spreads.
I don't know. I'm just so friggin' tired of it. I'm just so tired of talking about it, hearing about it. It was like our news and everything. You could not even communicate with the world without that being brought up.
Let's talk about it some more.
Let's not.
I want to talk about one grocery store, and there's always this old lady in there, and I'm not a fan of this grocery store. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Yep, I don't even have to say it to you. And it's a small, like, rinky-dink. I've only seen it up in Traverse City. I've never seen it anywhere else. So, anyway. This old lady, though, just stares me down because she, like, wants to, like, you're not even supposed to enter the counter zone, the checkout lane, until she gives you the with the hand, like, come on. And one time I had set some stuff up there. Oh, she ripped me apart. I have not had a chance to wipe that down yet. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hold on. I thought it was airborne. Like, and people were, like, still wiping down their groceries. Come on, man.
Well, she's just got her routine, and you just need to let her do her thing.
I'm going to mess with her.
She's being super cautious.
No, she's being a bee.
Well, she probably was a bee before COVID as well, so we just need to, like, let that roll out.
So I've asked her, are you having a bad day? We'll talk about it.
Nothing to do with your COVID. It's just probably in general.
Your husband didn't hook you up this morning? Lunch money? I thought I was going to say something else.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just glad that things are going to be opening up and we're going to have that event. Or not we're going to have it, but we're going to be at the event in Pawpaw. And I want to get a bus and take, like, a bunch of people from Traverse City down there. Because, like, I posted it and then I shared it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And, like, people were like, yo, man, that's cool. Like, I want to go.
You should. Get a bus.
Like rent a bus?
Yeah.
Like, would have someone drive it or I drive it? Like, what kind of bus are you talking about?
I don't know. You tell me. It's your idea.
Do you think I could drive a bus? I have a chauffeur's license.
You've driven a bus before.
Not like a real bus. A short
maybe
bus.
You only need a short bus.
Huh. But see, we're going to go down the day before.
Yeah.
Because Jules said, she promised us last time that she'd show us a good time when we hit the town.
Of Pawpaw.
Yeah. Or maybe Kalamazoo. It's right next. I don't know. Show my old stomping grounds. Mm-hmm. We'll track down Lizzie and the cat and the cowboy. Old radio people that were on my show. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. But no, it would be fun, though. So we're probably going to go the night before and just kind of hang out with Jewel and kick it and have a good time. Mm-hmm. and then, do the event. But, I'm sure my assistant, Justin,
Right.
Could drive a bus down there. Mm-hmm. I have faith in him. He could do that.
Did you hear you got elected for that, Justin?
Yep. He's driving a bus, Justin.
So you know.
And see, he could actually kill two birds with one stone. Which, again, we got to do our podcast, Justin. 2 birds, 1 stone, 7 thoughts, bro. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably saying the same. Well, I've been waiting for your call, Corey. So anyway, but no, because he works at a treatment center. Mm-hmm. And they have a van. Possibility? A little road trip. Let's road trip it.
Possibility, yeah.
Yeah. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. You ever see that?
Yes.
I know we're talking about mental health month, but that was kind of a funny movie. I've been in mental institutions, and
it's a great movie.
it really is. But don't they steal a bus or
school bus,
the van? Oh, that was the bus. The actual
was the bus.
Damn.
Yeah.
What about the Dream Team? You ever seen that with Michael Keaton?
Mm-mm.
I
think I remember you talking about it though.
I think it's like a spin-off of that, or a spoof, or not a spoof, but it's very similar, I think. But all right, so all that info is on our app. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but yeah, get the app. Mm-hmm. You'll like it, and you'll be like, why didn't I get that sooner? I don't know, stubborn, I guess. Set in your ways. But all right, I think I got everything in that I wanted to talk about tonight. In our last episode, I don't know, I just didn't talk about anything I wanted to talk about. It just was just proof. I don't like it.
Let's make a checklist.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, plan out my show a little better. Well, first it's hard just to get the co-host in the room sometimes. It's like, all right. And then the co-host looks at you like, are we done yet? Right after the open plays. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, okay. And then she's like, can I talk now?
Right.
And then I try, and then she doesn't say nothing. I'm saying she as if it's you, Marney, but I'm just... Oh,
you're referring to somebody else?
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
No, but thanks for listening, though, to the 217 Recovery Podcast. And share us with your friends if they're cool. And we will talk to you.
Thursday night shout out with 217 Recovery.
Pam. Hit us up on Twitter, Pam. There's your shout out. Daryl. From the hospital, bro. It was good to see you in the meeting.
Oh, right. You're meeting peeps.
And Adam, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great, man. Keep it up. And Dylan.
All right.
Just keep going, bro. Keep going. Move forward.
Shout out to Samantha, who's doing awesome. I had a long conversation with her today. Carrie, Kaylee, Rachel, and shout out to Judy.
All right. That's our shout outs. Thanks for listening. Talk to you Saturday.
All right. Bye, everybody.